It's the Borderlands Trail and Ultra Running Podcast. Today, all of these are special because it's cool to get to talk to Allison Baca and Hannah Allgood and Hayden Hawks. But Jason has been sort of in the zeitgeist for a long time. Like as long as I've been running, there's been a Jason Schlarb running at a high level on the trail. So it's just really cool. Like I've got to watch these other athletes come up, but Jason has sort of transcended my life in trail dating back to 2012 or so. And so I think he's going to bring an interesting perspective on the movement of trail in this 10 minutes that we get to spend with him today. But out of the gates, Jason, I'm going to show you a photo. I go through everyone's Instagram and go look for like really old photos of them running. And I came across yours, and it's among the most exciting to me. I'm just going to show it to you, and then you tell me what you think. Tell me where you go when you see that.
Yeah, that's a proud moment.
That's an incredible podium of you, Sage Canaday, and Anton Kaprichka, all at what is that, Speedgoat?
Yep, Speedgoat, and pretty
2013
fast times. Yeah.
Dang. Tell me about that race. What do you remember about it?
The thing that I remember about it is the year before I showed up and slept in the back of my truck and got a cold and sucked and was like, well, not sucked. I didn't have the race I wanted to, and I was like fourth or fifth. And then the next year, I was just like, I know I can do better than that. I know I can climb well, and I just, I was very happy to be up there. It was a good, and the legends. Those guys are amazing.
It's a legendary men's podium.
It just forever has had so many amazing people do great stuff there. So I think I'm out of the top 10 now, but it's for times, but it was only last year or something like that. I got knocked out of there.
Man. Well, now you run for Norda and you manage their athletics team, like the team of athletes. But
yeah,
I'm just curious. Go back to 2013, standing on that podium, to 2025 today. When you contemplate how this whole industry, this whole trail running thing has changed, are there any things that you immediately think of to think, oh, this is the thing that has changed the most? Like what comes to mind when you think about just how much it's changed?
The thing that comes to mind is like not about that time, everybody was talking about we want a world championship. We want to bring everybody, the best in the world, all together in one spot. And the thing that comes to mind is that like it happened, but it happened in such a different way than anybody expected. It's pretty wild, you know. But through UTMB, everybody kind of wanted and thought that we could do it in North America. You know, we had the UROC, the Ultra Run of Champions or whatever, and then, you know, Run Rabbit Run, try to put some money. And then Western States was legacy, but, you know, Scott Jurek himself, you know, I remember chatting with him in Boulder and like, Western States is too restricted. They don't want to change. They're not going to be the world's best. And then lo and behold, this UTMB thing that was kind of just awesome and interesting, but I didn't think it was going to be the place. And then the last part I would say too is just like another surprise is the world championship stuff. You know, that it was like there was many years where I didn't even know who was on our team, you know, and it was like there's the trail championships and the mountain running championships, and then every other year it was just so convoluted and weird. And like I just knew that there was fast guys like Joe and stuff going to these short races, and they were kind of an Italian special, and it wasn't the same crew that was running the hard, long, steep mountain, long distance ultras, 100-milers, hard rocks, you know, UTMB and stuff. And so, but now here we are, and that's, needless to say, it's taken a life of its own that has taken the attention of the best in the world.
Yeah. Before I pass it off to Brian to ask questions, one more for you, like just on the global level here, looking at this, do you think UTMB can hold on to its position, or do you think it's vulnerable?
I think it's in a good position. I think the biggest reason is because the U.S. and its permitting situation and being able to have a lot of people on a super amazing course is just difficult. It's just, I think that UTMB has that space, and then they've franchised globally. And so I don't think it's very vulnerable besides the world championships.
Yeah. Brian, take it away.
Yeah, man. Hey, Jason. Always good to talk to
Hey,
you.
good to see
Hey,
you.
buddy. Yeah, man. I was super curious. I know you, like Josh had said with the intro, you've been a part of the sport since 2010, and you've been a competitive runner for much longer in most of your adult life. What do you attribute the longevity to? Not a lot of guys, Josh showed that picture, are hanging around from that era of 2010, and here you are, still not just participating, but really thriving and setting new goals. So, yeah, man, speak to it. What can you say to the everyday runner to help keep us motivated?
It's an interesting mix, and it's personal. For me, I came with a lot of speed and collegiate D1 background, just like Sage in that picture, just like Max King. You know, Sage had his heart, blood clot thing, but Max is still kicking butt. Speed is king, and I realized that, and I held on to that, but I basically evolved with a number of things. One, I was a boozer. I used to drink a ton, and it was partly because of my collegiate Bozeman kind of background and mountain kind of culture, and then being in the military, and I was just boozing so much every week, getting drunk, and so being able to phase that out was a huge career extender.
Epic.
The second thing was not to jump on the bandwagon too much with Tony and Jeff Rose and those guys of just going and just doing vert and volume. So I held on to the workout a week, and then I definitely stepped into the big volume game. But luckily, David, after hitting a little bit of a plateau, 2017 started working with David Roach, and from there I've evolved with David. And so then it gets into stuff like high carb fueling. It gets into stuff like the strides and the speed work. This spring I spent like 6 weeks in a row on the track, and then and then moving now into running in the Italian Alps, and getting my body truly ready for UTMB. That's stuff that I didn't used to do. And then also just like supplementing and things like that I never did. Nobody really did, I don't think, back in the trail ultra world from 2000 whatever until 2000, like 16, 17. So starting to do that, and then alt training, getting on the bike, elliptical, mountain bike, whatever, once a week when I'm not injured. Those are the keys to that. And then just in genetics, of course. But those are the
Sure.
things that I've had to do to make it so I didn't just kind of like fizzle. But yeah, that's what I did.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, you're saying just always constantly be curious, constantly be a student of the sport, and yeah, just keep trying to find ways to improve. Um, you're kind of playing both sides of the fence there because you're also beloved as the sensei for Team Norda athletes. And speak to that for a minute. What does that mean to kind of hold that mantle in this phase of your career, and how much energy do you pull from that, seeing this new generation coming up?
It's always been kind of my goal, getting into the sport professionally at like 30, 32. I was kind of like, okay, I love this. I've got a business background. I've got, I would like to make this happen, as a career besides just running fast. And so I didn't know how it would transpire. I thought it might be coaching. I still do a little bit of coaching. I thought it might be working with a number of different kind of brands, doing product development, maybe starting a business. But I have found that, connecting with Nick and Willa and the brand itself, Norda, and the product, I really loved it, and it was genuine, and it was organic. And then to be able to do a role where I help develop a team, make it fun, and make it a good, strong team. That's a fantastic thing. That's meaningful to me. It's working with people. It's something I can do in Durango and still live in my cabin. And so, yeah, that's how that transpired. And luckily, it has worked, and being able to be around, surrounding myself with good people that are with Norda, I'm very happy. And then our athletes are doing great. Everybody's like healthy. Almost everybody is healthy and doing well, and they love the product, and people are on the team for the right reasons. We're still small, but it's not all about podiums. So it's really cool. It's fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I know they appreciate you over there, so that's great.
Thanks.
Last
Well, man.
last one for me. So Josh showed that picture of Speedgoat. I think it was a podium, and you guys were all holding the obnoxiously large prize money checks, right?
I love
And
them.
too often we think that this prize money thing is a new concept, but that was almost 10 years ago. But I don't think there's been much growth there. What do you think can be done to start increasing, the prize money? Races like the Golden Ticket Series, I think that funnel into Western states should definitely have prize money because of what they do for, the RDs that get to benefit from those races, live streams, just so much more money and attention. And we don't see much growth there. What do you think we could do to help support that?
This reminds me of a conversation I had on a deck in China with Catherine Paletti and Michelle, and they're like, "We are genuinely asking you, what should we do with prize money and everything?" And it was just for the long time, it was like the two camps. There's one is like, it's going to change the sport, make it terrible. It's triathlon. Trail will suck if we bring money. Don't do it. And then there was the other side of like, hey, let's make this professional. Let's bring the best in the world. Let's make it. Let's transcend the performance side and keep our roots somehow. And how to do that, it was so taboo because like I mentioned already, URock was a franchise that it just didn't sit right. They're trying too hard to bring the money, and then you had Run Rabbit Run that brought a whole bunch of money and were great people, but it got a kind of a bad rap the first year of just like, oh, they're just throwing money at it. It's not. It's convoluted. It's not. That's not what our sport's about. And then now, honestly, my best answer to you, Brian, is that like it's happened through sponsorship, and it happened through UTMB, and it happened that now we got half a dozen brands that are paying living wage to the professional athletes, and it's not so much through prize money. I don't think the prize money thing used to be that this is how we're going to pay athletes, but then the sponsorship thing really took over. And what UTMB and what Catherine and Michelle told me is like, well, we will you will get paid through our exposure and brands wanting to send you to this race or have you at this race. And I kind of didn't like that. I was like, oh, you're passing the buck. You should be paying us.
Right.
So, but here we are, and the buck has been passed and it's being paid. So there we go. And then I think 5,000 or 10,000 or 6,000 at some races and stuff. It's kind of, just hit or miss. It's not very reliable, but having a sponsor that pays you well and takes care of you and like supports you financially and as a team, which has happened. There's a lot of goodness to that. And I think that is being successful.
Right.
Man.
And we
Jason,
have, like for instance, for Norda, or Terex, Hoka, whatever, we have a race incentive. These races, you will get this money for winning them or being on the podium and stuff like that. And so the prize money is happening, but is happening through the brands a little bit more. And so, like especially in North America, where races still, like I still had to pay to go run Nick Clark's race, and I certainly didn't get any money for winning or whatever. It's not like a big race or anything, but that's just probably not going to change that much. Those races aren't going to be paying big athletes probably. Run Rabbit Run's an exception, but for a number of reasons. But sorry, long answer for
no,
that.
man, that's a great answer. I could talk to you forever. Hopefully we can have you back on sometime and just go without watching the clock. But I'm thankful for your time today, rooting for you in the race. Love the team that you've put together with Norda. Just big fans, kind of top to bottom of everything that you're about. And special thanks to your wife, who I met before you, because she volunteered at my race one year. And before we had anything digital happening, she was handwriting finishing times for us so she could get into hard rock. And man, just, you surround yourself clearly with good people, and you yourself are as well. So thank you.
Thank you for all you guys do. And Borderlands is awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, dude.